For the first time, a faint hint of interest appeared in his eyes. The light gradually began to fade. At the center of the circle, the gods were gone. Only a single new warrior stood there. His body was massive, but not simply because of his muscles. Multiple divine presences pulsed within him at the same time. Different destruction markings from the gods shimmered across his skin, constantly shifting. Within his eyes, violet, crimson, blue, and golden Hakai energies swirled together. A crown of destruction flames formed behind his shoulders. There wasn't just one layer of aura surrounding him, there were many. Each layer represented the destructive authority of a different god. The moment he took a single step, the remaining arena sank beneath his feet. Vado said in astonishment, "So much destruction energy within a single body." Whis sensed the warrior's energy flow. This fusion is more powerful than any ordinary divine being in this multiverse. A faint spark of excitement appeared alongside the shock on Goku's face. This power? Vegeta immediately interrupted. "This isn't the time to get excited, Kakarot. Darius still hasn't moved." Seated upon his throne above the arena, Gilgamesh burst into laughter. "Finally, something interesting." God Fusion slowly raised his head. His gaze locked onto Darius. When he spoke, the voices of all the gods echoed together within his own. "You are no longer facing a single god." His aura expanded toward the heavens. "Now you face the complete embodiment of destruction." Darius slowly removed both of his hands from behind his back. He clenched and unclenched his fingers once. Then he spoke. "Good." Anger flashed through God Fusion's eyes. "Is that all you have to say?" Darius shifted one foot slightly backward. For the first time, he assumed a proper fighting stance. "I was only wondering how many seconds you last." Dark red sparks began to emerge around his body. God Fusion vanished from where he stood. The next instant, his punch collided with Darius's fist. The moment of impact, every sound disappeared. For 1 second, everything fell completely silent. Then, the shockwave erupted. The remaining mountains of the arena shattered all at once. A gigantic circular crack spread across the artificial sky. Even inside the barrier, Goku and Vegeta had to brace themselves to keep their footing. God Fusion threw a second punch. Darius blocked it. A third, a fourth, then dozens of attacks followed. For the first time, Darius was blocking punches with both hands. God Fusion drove a knee toward Darius's ribs. Darius lowered his elbow and stopped the attack. In that very instant, God Fusion spun his body and struck Darius across the face with a back fist. Darius was knocked backward through the air for some distance. God Fusion instantly appeared above him. Locking both fists together, he slammed them into Darius's back. Darius plummeted toward the ground, but before he could crash, he twisted his body and launched an upward kick into God Fusion's jaw. God Fusion was sent soaring into the sky. Darius appeared directly in front of him. He drove a knee into God Fusion's abdomen. The impact tore open the space behind God Fusion. God Fusion was blasted several kilometers backward, but he planted his feet in midair and came to a stop. He wiped the blood from his lips with a finger. Then he smiled. "Now do you understand our power?" Darius answered without hesitation, "No." He appeared right in front of God Fusion. "I'm only watching." He drove another knee into God Fusion's abdomen to see when your body will finally break. The rage of every god within God Fusion erupted at once. He grabbed Darius's wrist. With his other hand, he gathered destruction energy. Violet, blue, crimson, and golden energies spiraled together. Universal Hakai. A massive beam of destruction burst from his palm. The beam engulfed Darius and surged all the way to the opposite end of the arena. Everything in its path wasn't merely shattered, it was erased from existence. God Fusion extended both hands toward the beam. Be erased. The beam grew even larger. The entire arena was flooded with violet-white light. Goku raised his arm to shield his eyes. Nothing can survive an attack like this. Without blinking, the Grand Priest stared into the beam. Then his eyes widened slightly. "He's moving," Whis said in shock. "What?" Within the beam, a dark silhouette appeared. Darius was calmly walking forward through the universal Hakai. His clothes and hair whipped violently within the raging energy, yet his body wasn't being erased. With every step he took, the Hakai energy split into two before it could even reach him. Vados's voice trembled. "That's impossible." Whis said, "He's not resisting the destruction energy." The Grand Priest quietly finished the sentence. "He's breaking it apart before it can even reach his body." God Fusion poured even more power into the beam. "You can't escape this." Darius kept walking forward. One step, then another, then a third. Within moments, he had walked straight through the entire universal Hakai beam and stood before God Fusion. Darius looked him in the eyes. "Even your Hakai," he thrust one hand into the center of the beam, "is as weak as you are." Darius swept his hand to the side. The entire universal Hakai beam changed direction and shot upward above the arena. The beam ripped through the sky. Half of an empty dimension beyond the arena vanished from existence in an instant. Every spectator stood stunned. God Fusion immediately clenched his fist and threw a punch at Darius's face. At that very moment, Darius threw his own punch. Their fists were about to collide, but this time, Darius's dark aura suddenly increased several-fold. Whis's eyes widened. The Grand Priest leaned forward from where he stood. Goku said quietly, "His power is increasing." Sweat appeared on Vegeta's face. "No, Kakarot, he's not increasing his power." The entire space behind Darius began turning pitch black. Within that darkness, thousands of crimson lights resembling eyes began to glow. Vegeta gritted his teeth. He's simply releasing his true energy. For the first time. Darius and God Fusion's fists collided, and the entire arena vanished into a sea of black light. Darius and God Fusion's fists collided. The instant of impact turned the space between them completely black. The next moment, God Fusion was pushed backward. He immediately regained his balance, but Darius was already standing in front of him. Darius threw a punch at his face. God Fusion blocked the attack. At the absolute same instant, Darius drove an elbow into his ribs. God Fusion's body bent sideways. Darius grabbed his shoulder and drove a knee straight into his chest. God Fusion was knocked backward. But before he could fall, he grabbed Darius's wrist. Pulling Darius toward him, he slammed his forehead into Darius's face. Darius's head jerked back slightly. God Fusion didn't waste a single moment. He drove 3 punches into Darius's abdomen. The first punch infused with violet Hakai. The second carried crimson destruction energy. The third contained the combined power of every god. The moment the third strike landed, Darius was blasted far into the distance. Goku immediately said, "He hit Darius." Vegeta answered without hesitation, "He only landed a hit. Don't assume it did any damage yet." God Fusion instantly appeared behind Darius. He kicked Darius with a back. Darius was sent crashing downward. God Fusion rushed above him and brought both fists down onto his chest. Darius slammed into the ground. God Fusion opened his hand. Multiple rings of destruction energy formed around him. Each ring contained the Hakai power of a different god. God Fusion lowered his hand. Divine Erasure Barrage. All of the rings fired energy blasts simultaneously.
Hundreds of blasts converged upon a single point. At the center of the explosion, Darius completely disappeared.
God Fusion didn't stop attacking. He released even more energy. The blasts became increasingly powerful. Whis carefully observed the assault. "He's trapping Darius in a single location," Vados said. "Each blast carries a different destruction frequency. The moment Darius adapts to one energy, the next blast becomes completely different," Goku said. "So he's not giving him any chance to recover." The Grand Priest remained silent. His eyes stayed fixed on the center of the attack. God Fusion raised his other hand as well. "Now, disappear!" All of the rings aligned into a single line. Their energies merged together into one gigantic sphere. God Fusion hurled the sphere down upon Darius. A blinding explosion erupted. The attack continued for several seconds. Then God Fusion slowly lowered his hands. His breathing was heavy. The voices of every god within him spoke as one. "Has he been erased?" The smoke cleared. Darius stood at the center of the crater. There was a slight injury on his shoulder. A thin cut marked his cheek. For the first time, confidence appeared in God Fusion's eyes. "You were wounded." Darius wiped away the small drop of blood from his cheek. He looked at it. Then he looked back at God Fusion. "All of you gods together managed to give me a single cut." A faint smile appeared on his face. "What could be more embarrassing for all of you than that?" God Fusion charged forward in fury. This time he didn't throw a direct punch. Instead, dozens of afterimages appeared around Darius. Every afterimage attacked from a different direction. Darius blocked the first punch. He dodged the second attack. He deflected the third with his wrist. But the fourth punch struck his face. The fifth kick landed against his side. God Fusion increased his speed even further. Now he was using the fighting styles of different gods simultaneously. God Fusion grabs Darius's hand and throws him into the air. He appears behind him and delivers a powerful attack to his back. Darius crashes into the ground. A planet-sized crater is formed. God Fusion says from above, "You made the mistake of thinking the gods were weak." Darius's voice comes from inside the crater. "Mistake?" Darius walks out of the smoke. There is a smile on his face. He says, "I was only giving you a little hope." God Fusion is shocked. Darius appears in front of him in an instant. The two begin fighting again. Sometimes they collide in the sky. Sometimes they rush from one corner of the arena to the other. With every punch, different dimensions begin to shake. God Fusion binds Darius in energy chains. He says, "Now you cannot escape." Darius releases his energy. All the chains break in an instant. God Fusion steps back. Darius says, "Even all of you gods together cannot stop me." God Fusion angrily releases his full power. Energy equal to several universes begins gathering around him. Whis says, "If this attack is released here, then not only the arena, many dimensions will be destroyed." From inside the barrier, the Grand Priest says, "Stop, do not use that attack." But God Fusion does not listen to him. He looks toward Darius. "This is our final attack." Darius also clenches his fist. His dark aura covers the entire arena. Both of them rush toward each other. Their energies collide. A massive explosion occurs. All the angels create barriers to protect themselves. Zeno-sama also creates an energy shield in front of himself. For a few moments, no one can see anything. When the smoke slowly clears, God Fusion is still standing. He is severely injured. Darius stands in front of him. There is some damage on his body, but he is still standing straight. God Fusion says, "We have not lost yet." Darius says, You were never winning. At that moment, Demon King Zeth, who is sitting on the throne above, looks toward Darius. He raises his hand and makes a small gesture. Zeth says, "Darius." Darius looks toward him. Zeth says, "Finish this now." Darius says, "As you command, Demon King." God Fusion moves forward to attack, but Darius appears in front of him in an instant. God Fusion does not even get a chance to react. Darius places his hand in front of his chest. A pulse of dark energy is released from his hand into God Fusion's body. God Fusion's eyes widen. The destruction aura around him begins to break apart. God Fusion says, "How is this?" Darius says, "You were many gods." He pulls his hand back, but not one of you was a warrior. God Fusion's body begins breaking apart into energy particles. The combined energy of all the gods disappears from the arena in an instant. The entire arena becomes completely silent. All the angels are left shocked. For the first time, Whis' eyes widen completely. Vado slowly says, "All the gods of destruction?" Whis says, "Their energy is gone." Even Zeno-sama is unable to say anything for a few moments. He continues staring toward Darius. Gilgamesh, sitting on his throne, begins laughing loudly. His laughter echoes throughout the arena. He claps his hands. Gilgamesh says, "Wonderful, Darius."
Darius looks toward him. Gilgamesh says, "All the gods of destruction fused together, and they still could not stand against you." A slight smile also appears on Demon King Zeth's face. He says, "Darius has not even used his full power yet." Hearing this, Whis and the other angels become even more shocked. Gilgamesh now slowly looks toward the angels. His smile becomes even more dangerous. He says, "The gods' game is over." Then he rises from the throne. Now it is the angels' turn. Gilgamesh begins laughing loudly. Ha 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 ha. All the angels look toward Darius. Darius slowly turns toward them. A dark red light begins glowing in his eyes. Zeno-sama says angrily, "Gilgamesh, stop this." Gilgamesh looks toward him. He says, "Stop." Then he points toward Darius. "Zeno, the real tournament has only just begun." And with that, Darius takes his first step toward the angels. Darius slowly began walking toward the angels. With every step he took, the entire arena started trembling violently. All the remaining warriors from every universe stared at him. Goku clenched his fist. This is the same power that wiped out all the gods of destruction. Vegeta said angrily, "Everything depends on the angels now." Where Beerus and the other gods of destruction had once stood, only an empty battlefield remained. Harmano silently watched Darius. Shino slowly said, "I already realized it. This demon is different from all of us." Toppo fixed his gaze on Darius and said, "If even the angels lose, then the end of the multiverse is certain." Meanwhile, for the first time, Zeno and future Zeno looked completely serious. Behind them, inside the energy barrier, the Grand Priest was repeatedly attacking it with all his strength, but not a single crack appeared in the barrier. Gilgamesh, sitting on Zeno's throne, let out a faint laugh. "See, Zeno? I told you. The real tournament has only just begun." Beside him, Demon King Zeth sat with his arms crossed, watching Darius. "Now let's see how long the angels can hold out." At that moment, two figures stepped forward from the line of angels. The Angel of Universe 1, Korn, and the Angel of Universe 9, Mojito. The two of them stopped directly in front of Darius. Without saying a word, Darius looked at them. Mojito stepped forward and said, "Darius, stop right there.
You'll be facing us." Korn stepped up beside him. "The rest of the angels, no one will interfere." All the angels looked toward the two of them. Vados immediately spoke. "Korn, this is far too risky." Kuss also said, "We should all attack together." But Korn shook his head. "No. If we all fight together, we may never understand Darius's true power." Mojito smiled and said, "The two of us are enough. The rest of you just watch." Goku exclaimed in surprise, "The two of them are going to fight alone?" Vegeta quietly said, "They're not gods of destruction, they're angels. How much power lies within them? Perhaps we've never truly seen it." For the first time, Darius spoke. "Only two? I thought the angels had a little more courage." Without the slightest fear, Mojito replied, "You want to see courage? Then make the first move."